off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
Hello. We are here to
We is here.
cover
Here we
True
is.
Detective Night Country Part 6. It is that the end has arrived, but it's all about the friends we made along the way. D, how's it going?
It's going. It's going great. How are you?
I'm just, I am here. I am ready to discuss, have some thoughts.
Good thoughts?
Um, I'll ask you this as we always start. First impressions. What did you think about the episode? And allow me to add this caveat. What did you think about the episode in a vacuum, not in the context of a finale?
Oh, well, I can't. Ooh, I don't know if I could do that. Because in a vacuum, that means it's just like if I'm watching this episode.
Mhm.
Um, you know what? In a vacuum, I think this is probably the best one for me. This was the best episode. Um,
Mhm.
as far as the pacing and all that good stuff. I thought it had action. It kind of I don't remember being dull in a part that really mattered. Like of course it had to
Mhm.
slow down, but I think as far as episodes go, this was probably my favorite one. And I don't know if that's because it's the best one or if I knew it was the last one and I finally got what I was looking for. Can't really, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
general impressions, the destination was by far way better than the journey. The
Mhm.
journey was not fun
Yeah.
at all.
You said you found what you were looking for, but to quote you too, I still haven't found what I'm looking for because um big picture. Let me start big picture first. This finale did nothing to prove this series should exist. I'll start there. So that's big picture. Small picture. If you look at this story and you look at this episode within the context of this story, it was a satisfactory episode. It's just that the story didn't like the totality of the story just didn't grab my attention. But if this story interests you, if this story drew you in, then this was very much a very satisfactory ending to that story. And I do echo what you say. Like, if we are to talk about like, and that's why I kind of like phrased that question like that because yeah, in regards to like just episodes, this was the strongest episode. Um,
Mhm.
and it's weird because like the pacing was much better. Um, it seemed like it had a clear direction, but it still makes you ask yourself, why did we like drag our feet to get to this point and this is the ending? This feels like I don't know, this it just felt weird because I'm like, okay, so there could I would say this. I felt leaving like there could have been something here. One thing in particular, which I haven't mentioned it to you, but it's kind of sort of a theory of mine, but I want to know what you think. And I think they didn't like set it up well and didn't execute it well because if not, it could have made for like a very like powerful ending, but they didn't set it up well. I'll put that on the shelf and we'll revisit it later.
Uh, I think the biggest thing for me was what you said. It could have been something because I very much enjoyed the resolution. Like I
Mhm.
liked the whole thing about Annie K finding out what they were doing and destroying it, and then them kill. Like, I liked all of that. All of that made perfect sense to me. It was plausible. It was reasonable. It all made sense, and it all made sense too for her sister and her sisters to come and wreak havoc and get revenge for her. Like, all of that, I liked all
Girls
of that.
get
I
it
liked the
done.
story. Girls get it done. But I did. I liked all of that because none of it is out of bounds, really. You know what I mean? Like, it is very plausible that this girl fell in love with this scientist and that he was doing this weird shit, and she found out that it happened to her, and she put all that love mess aside because this is what you're doing to my family, my people, to me. And she destroyed it. And I can see how they could snap. This is not by any means excusing the scientists. This is me saying I could see how they would snap, because he said that was what, decades of work or something like that she destroyed.
and not to mention to just like interject, like it's also like a little like cabin fever set again. Like, if you're restricted to this facility, like, yeah, that your reaction probably will be that of not a normal person. So shockingly, yeah, when they showed the resolution, I was like no part of me was like, that's implausible. I was like, okay, I buy it. Yeah.
The only part that I did not like, I did not like how they figured it out.
No,
And
because
they're good detectives, sure, but like, they pulled out some CSI shit, and it's fine, but it low key pissed me off, because we've been saying
it
from the
seemed
beginning that there are characters that they have there for
uh,
one specific reason, and it seemed like she was there for one specific reason. And it's small, y'all, I promise it's small, but it pissed me off so bad because her fingers were missing, right? And she put her hand down perfectly on the thing so she could try to turn the hatch. You can't turn the hatch with two hands. What makes you think you can do it with one? And it's like, it doesn't matter.
it
I
seems
get
a
it,
bit
I
like a
promise,
MacGuffin,
but
right? It seems a bit
yeah.
like, because I'm not gonna lie, when and not to take anything away from Detective Danvers, because she has shown that she's pretty wise detective. But how convenient is that chemical like just in the back corner, and the black light over here, and the handprint just perfectly on I was like, okay, this is far too convenient. Like, make us work for it. Like, it was just far too convenient, it felt like.
Give me something else. And again, that fight in the very beginning between her and the dude was just like, it's there, and it's fair that it's there, right? Because they do have those characters to pull from in the end. This is the one that Navarro just happened to pass by and beat her ass. She started it, and then this was the one that happened to put her hand perfectly down on this hatch so that they could get this one perfect handprint, so they can remember, oh yeah, the girl that we saw all this time ago only has 8 fingers. And it's just like, cool, but like, we could have been doing something else to get us there. Cause like, Otis, why? Like, why was Otis there at all, other than for for Hank Pryor to kill him and to say, I didn't kill Annie Kate. Like,
I got a question for you.
Okay.
What the hell is the Night Country?
The caves. We're all in the night country now. I promise you, I still don't know. I thought,
Yeah, like,
I don't know. The caves are the night country, I'm assuming. And
like,
because the facility is I'm assuming down there is what they were testing, because they were saying, it makes the permafrost softer and blah 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 blah. Keep in mind, I am not in college. I have no idea what any of that stuff means past the surface level. Like, I could use the context and understand what he was saying enough, but I'm assuming that's what they were in the caves for, because I'm trying to figure out why y'all were in the caves anyway. But I'm assuming it was for the testing. Like they were down
Yeah,
there,
it was for the testing. Yeah,
yeah, and getting
and
them
I
the
yeah.
materials or
Yeah, and I asked that in
because
jest, but because like the night country,
what is the night country? What is
we're
it?
to believe they are the caves, but the presentation and for that to be like the cliffhanger makes you think it's going to be something like greater, but it's really just a
What
already
was the other?
secret lab that has a secret lab. It's like
What
levels
was
of
the other
levels.
scientist for too, Ronnie? The other scientist. Okapic Opak oh God, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his name right. But the other one, the
Yeah,
one
I know
that
what
they
you're talking about.
found,
Yeah,
what was how many red herrings did we need?
yeah.
My biggest complaint with this was that I feel like there were a bunch of people that were just there for no reason other than to be there.
Mhm.
And I know it's kind of like what's the thing they call it when they the refrigerator when they kill off the women, the freezer.
Oh, fridging,
It's
fridging. Yeah.
fridging. That's they were almost because Julia felt like fridging.
Hmm.
Like if you look at it in a grand scale,
Hmm.
she went in the water and froze. This what it was. It
Hmm.
was fridging. That's what Julia was. And Holden, what was the little
Yeah,
boy,
that
the
was
one-eyed polar bear? Why? What was the point? What was the
yeah.
purpose?
All
I
right,
learned nothing
so
from that at
so
all.
so here's the part about Holden that I'm just like, really? So I thought, all right, so D, let's say you because we seen this trope before where like let's say you or your character like sees like someone that I know, but that person is deceased, they're in another plane, and I'm like, you're just messing with me. You really didn't see them, and then you tell me your favorite candy bar is Butterfingers because you seen a Bart Simpson cartoon when you were 5 years old. That's real, by the way. And then that will be something only I know, right? And then I'll be like, oh,
Mhm.
so maybe you did see this person. But if I'm like, well, what did this person say? And you're like, they see you. I'm just like, what the?
What does that even mean? And it's no context, right? Like it doesn't, it's not like something that they've shown us over time, or they didn't show us a clip of her and Holden speaking and they said it and like nothing. It just says, I see you, and she covered her eye, and I'm like, I'm even more confused than I was before. I would have been probably better off if they had just let the mystery be and not told me what he said at all. Because what
Yeah.
does it mean?
Yeah, because I thought it was going to be like something like kind of like
It's not your
profound. And
fault.
I was just like,
Um, Forgive yourself. You know, some even cheesy I
yeah.
could deal with. I'm okay. It's okay to move on. You can live without me. Don't punish Leah because she's not me. Peter Pryor. It's okay to love Peter Pryor as he's not replacing me. Like something that makes sense. But
Have you seen Office Space? Have you seen Office Space?
I have seen it once a very long time
Okay.
ago, so I remember it.
Yeah, it's the main character. I think his name is Peter. He goes to his next door his neighbor's apartment and he's walking out and he's like, hey man, watch out for the cornhole. And he's just like, what the fuck does that mean? Like it's like, what does that mean? Like
Exactly.
like what does
That's
that
but
mean?
that's the same thing as we're all in the night country now. What
Uh-huh.
are we? Um, the other problem I had, I'm getting the problems out the way, y'all. The other problem I had was the deaths. Although I do still appreciate the way it happened, like the women saying, "Hey, y'all make
Mm,
it, you'll be fine. Your clothes are here, you'll be all right. But if you don't,
mm.
then tough titty." But Clark dying the same way as the rest of them, I didn't like that because it doesn't give me any clarity. Like,
It doesn't
am I to assume that there is actually someone out there that took them in a way or scared them, because the prognosis is they died of fright, right? Like plain fright, not hypothermia, not something that like something scared them to death, and then they froze. And then for Clark
Yeah.
to die the exact same way all this time later under a different circumstance felt strange.
Yeah, that didn't feel right. And it's kind of like a passive killing. And what I mean by that is like while he wasn't directly responsible for Annie K's murder, like you could say he's complicit. So it's not like we're going to kill you, but you're going to like pay for your sins. But just the way they went about it, I feel like it could have been, I don't know, like you said, to die in the same manner. It was just like, okay.
Because the circumstances were different.
Hmm.
It seemed like it happened faster. I don't know. I don't know how long he was out there, so I don't know. Maybe it was the same amount of time. I don't know, but
Yeah, it seems like it happened faster because yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because old boy survived a whole night.
Hmm.
The one that didn't die. So I don't know. I mean, he died later, of course, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Leah, what was her point? Like, and when I say what's their purpose, I get that these characters are there to show you the character development of our main characters. That makes sense to me. I also think that they could have been something else to take the time. Like in the time we saw Leah, we could have been getting development of other
Hmm.
people. I don't know. I don't know. Even
Development of
Peter's
a
wife, like I don't
story.
know, and
Yeah.
Peter's son, all of the stuff is just
Yeah.
kind of like they're just kind of there. I do think they did a good job of saying what you were saying once, like in the very beginning, that the premise of True Detective is to not necessarily focus on just the case, but on how it affects the detectives. I think they did a
Hmm.
good job with that. I will say that I do think they did a good job of showing us what was going on with Evangeline, what was going on with Danvers, what was going on with Hank and Peter. So that's cool. I think they covered that, but I think that's the only thing they covered under the veil of True Detective. That's it.
So yeah, that's actually a good segue because we kind of get like the most true detective moment at the end because there's always some component where the detective is being basically questioned about like
Interrogated.
the main case. He interrogated about the
Yeah.
main case. And Danvers is talking and they ask Danvers about Navarro. And she's just like, no one ever really leaves um Ennis. So this is what I was alluding to earlier when I feel like they could have done a better job of really like s- um like driving this point home because like if they did it well, it actually would have worked. Navarro is no longer with us. I don't know if you picked up on that. At least that's what I think.
You think she died?
Mhm. No, not only did she die, but she
She did it.
she took the walk into the ice. And
Hmm.
the Navarro that we see at the end is kind of like when
Travis.
Travis came to see, yeah, which now explains Rose's relationship to Evangeline because she I guess if you want to really try and make a connection there. Evangeline talked to Rose because she knew that Rose would be the only one who would understand, that that in this is like I said, is like at the edge of like the physical and spiritual world and people walk in and out of it. So I feel like that's why they had that connection because it's never really explained. So I'm kind of like doing like some contextual stuff here. But I truly feel like yeah, Evangeline like takes that walk. And because if you notice at the end when she walks up like onto the patio, like it's really only Danvers who kind of acknowledges her. So I think, yeah.
And it's also, if you put, I'm glad you said that, because if that's not the case, that's what I want to go with. Because if she had any intentions on coming back, why did she leave the radio, I
The
mean the
toothbrush.
tape for her, and why did she leave the toothbrush? Yeah. Because that's like, you're never gonna see me again, right? This is this is
Mhm.
goodbye. And the officer said, so you wouldn't know anything about people saying they've had sightings or something like that, about the sightings of her. And she's like, people never
Mhm.
really leave in it. So that could be just like when people say, I thought I saw someone, and they just thought they saw her. Because if she's going to be gone, she can't pop up she can't be in Ennis, because people are going to recognize her,
Mhm.
right? They would know it's her. So yeah, I mean, I guess you could leave it up to interpretation, but I like yours.
But yeah, like I said, I just feel like they could have like really drove that home. And also, let me say this too. Let me give some props out. Like we already know, like Jodie Foster's like pedigree. I mean, like she's been
Amazing.
doing this for a long time. But I really feel like Kelly Reese like has something, and
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of the times like the material was kind of like failing her. So like it was hard to see like what she truly has to offer. But I do think for someone who like I think this is only like her second role like ever. I think like I said, she's a retired like boxer. So I think this is only like her second role ever. But yeah, I think she has something. I hope she continues to act because yeah, I think she has some promise, especially like this episode. Like she was really, really good in this episode.
Hmm. I've seen people go up against real deal actors and actresses, and sometimes it's very, very, very clear who's who, right? Like it is very
Yeah.
clear. Like you shouldn't you don't go up against a Meryl Streep. You don't go up against a Jodie Foster. You don't go up against Bo Bridges. Yeah.
Where the hell did Bo
So when
Bridges
you
come from?
do
That was random.
sorry. Okay, Jeff Bridges. Okay, sorry. All of them, any of them. Jeff Bridges specifically, Jeff Bridges. But if you do, know that people are going to notice if you aren't up to snuff, right? Like,
Mhm.
we'll be able to see, oh, this is very clear who's had the training, or who's done this the most. And there was not a point where I was watching when I was like, oh my gosh, she is acting circles around this
Mhm.
girl. So to your point, I agree with you. And it may be because um she may have been in a way being herself. Like we always
Mhm.
joke about how Denzel
Yeah.
Washington is such a great actor because he's just
Yeah.
himself in all the roles. They're like, hey, this is the script, but you be yourself. Like you just go out there and you be Denzel in this situation.
Yeah.
So it may be
Yeah. Like
that too. She is very close to her actual
um
person, her real
yeah,
personality.
the scene, and it's a shame because I was like, I wish we had more of this, but the scene where, by the way, people, we aren't all bad stuff because I'm about to like give this some props, but the scene where they're like duct taping Clark to the chair and she like, puts the headphones in and she's like wrapping his head. I'm like, this is the good stuff. This is what I've been wanting the whole time. Like this is because that really felt like, all right, so like I said, what I've been missing is like you've been telling me how much this case affects you, but you haven't really shown it to me. Like you haven't, really conveyed that. But at this point, you see these two characters and they're like, we'll do whatever it takes to bring this to justice now. Like we like remember how I said like you have to establish the line before you cross it. They're like, we've crossed the line. We're about to do whatever it
There's no
takes
line.
to yeah,
There is no
exactly.
line.
So that was the one moment where I was like, I wish we had more of this. I wish we had more of like because it's almost like yeah, we've seen a lot of them, but we didn't really spend enough time setting up their relationship. But at that moment, that's when you really felt like, okay, this is a relationship, and relationships don't have to be good, by the way. Like they can, because
Mm.
obviously their relationship is fractured, but you can tell that there is a relationship here, and at that moment they kind of had an understanding, because there's like, want some coffee, and then
Mhm.
that was good, and I wish we had more of that. Yeah.
The that that whole scene, I agree with you, was masterful to me, because going from when she was like, "You're not gonna stop me," until she was like, "No," and she walked on
Mhm.
out when she pulled a gun. It's like I have a sibling, and because I've had this sibling for the majority of my life, we can do things without the other. Like you just I don't have to say a word to him. He doesn't have to say a word to me. And there are reactions we will have due to, I guess, just knowing each other for so long, right? They almost had the same thing. When he said whatever he said,
Mhm.
Danvers knew immediately she is about to kill this dude. Like she pulled, like the way she pulled her gun out and was already
Mhm.
ready, and Danvers was already halfway out the room, like, oh hell.
Mhm.
Like, oh, here we go.
Mhm.
And the way they put that in and then put the scene from that first murder, I'm
Mhm.
assuming that's her first murder. That was beautiful. And I'm sorry because it was brutal,
Yeah.
but the way she pulled her gun and shot that man without even, like, she barely looked over there at him.
Mhm.
And it was like she was really like it really showed how she was out of her mind, because I've never murdered anybody, praise God. And I just
Mhm.
don't think it's an easy thing to do, right? No matter how angry you are, no matter how I think it still takes something to take somebody's life. So the fact that she did that in almost autopilot shows you that something clicked, right? And that's why she was like, you saw something.
Mhm.
She's like, well, I didn't see anything. And it was the girl, screaming at her. And she just went to wherever she went and shot the man without even a second thought. But for this one, it wasn't the case. And I'm assuming it's because she didn't see whatever it was. And who was that girl? Was she some random girl? Because she wasn't the deceased, was she? The one that
I
Navarro kept
mean,
seeing?
that's who I thought she was.
It was her? Okay.
So yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's
that's
the
what I was
same girl
thinking.
she saw when she saw Heist too, when they were
Mhm.
down at the
Mhm.
Christmas tree or whatever. So I'm assuming she didn't see her again, because maybe the girl, I guess, comes to her to let her know, evil lurks
Mhm.
or whatever else. But they
Yeah.
needed him to say what he had to say so Annie's case could be solved, which it was. And all my girls, got away with murder. Is it murder? It's murder, right? They murdered him.
It's whatever you say it is, and they found the right story they wanted to tell, which is the man died in
Stories
a
of
an
stories.
avalanche. Stories
I
and
mean, they
stories.
did.
Yeah.
That's what happened. The
Yeah.
forensic evidence says it was an avalanche, and
Mhm.
that's what it is. Speaking of stories of stories, Annie's tongue. You still
Yeah.
got me. I don't know. I still don't know. I don't I don't know.
Yeah.
I still don't know what happened. Did Hank bring it?
Yeah.
Because that's what my thought too. Like, did Hank bring the tongue? Because why? If he did, why? Why would he
Mhm.
bring it there? Like, and why would he still have it? And
Mhm.
why was it somewhat fresh? Like, I still don't get what happened with that.
Yeah.
That's my only, like, mystery.
The tongue was in damn near like perfect
Pristine.
condition. Like
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
It can't survive like that. I mean, because it's flesh. Well, it's not flesh. What is it? What is it?
Yeah.
What is your tongue? It's not an organ, right? What is it?
I mean, yeah. Your tongue is fleshy. Yeah.
It's just flesh. It's flesh. There's no way that flesh is going to live for you, because she died at least years ago, right?
5 years ago.
At least 4
Yeah.
years. And it was there, and it looked relatively fresh. I mean, it wasn't
Mhm.
discolored or anything, and from what I remember, to the point where I would think it would have been. So I still don't understand it. Still.
My loose end is it's Matt Jameson. Like you just you know you just go corrupt, then that's just
Well,
cool.
does he? So you think Matt knows everything?
So I will say I don't think I think he I think he I think he I think he knows, but I don't think he was like in on it. If that
So
makes
he
sense.
was just a product of what happened. He didn't send Hank out there, but he knows what Hank did. Just like
I
he
mean, yeah,
knows
like
what Danvers and Navarro did.
yeah,
Okay.
because
But I
to
mean, so
me
that
he
makes
was
him complicit.
yeah, exactly. Because to me he was
Okay.
presented as the guy like to kind of like shut things down, or the guy to like be the overseer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I mean, so yeah, so what now? But what happens with everything now? Because the thing got leaked, so maybe everybody's in trouble. Everybody that was a part of
Mm.
it is in trouble. Because I have no doubt that old girl would have thrown him under the bus if it
Yeah,
came down to it. And he probably didn't mention him. But if he says they had a cop come out there, then of course it's gonna come back to him because he's not, what is he, like a commissioner or something, a captain, or what is he? He's something. Because he's
yeah,
above
it's
Danvers, right?
yeah, yeah. He's
So
above
if she's the
Danvers.
chief
Yeah,
of police, then he's got to be like the commissioner or something, right?
he's something
Because
because he's
he's
not even in the same town, but he was able to like dispatch her to that town. So I don't
yeah,
quite know what their relationship is.
but he's
Like,
police
cause
though,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
He's
no, he
not
is,
like politician. He's police. Okay,
yeah, and my
maybe he's
understanding is
commissioner. What do
like
commissioners do?
he's the top guy at Anchorage, but Ennis is almost like an outpost of that. So he sent her
Mm.
there. He like basically exiled her to that point. So
Where don't you
whatever
want to
it
go?
is, like yeah, whatever it is, like clearly, maybe almost like a sheriff type relation because he
Hmm.
has jurisdiction over Enos as well, but he's like and he like we see the Anchorage PD like stuff. So
Hmm. Okay, so is it Anchorage and Ennis is just like a suburb maybe, or
I guess I don't know.
okay, maybe that's what it is. Almost like, well, no, I can't even say Birmingham and Fairfield because Birmingham, Fairfield, they're two different cities. Maybe it's a community in there, like I said, a suburb, more like Birmingham and
Yeah,
Ainsley.
I guess.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm serious. I really don't know. But anyway, I'm with you. Heads had to roll, I'm sure, after that, and
Mhm.
hopefully something happened because again, that storyline, I like that a lot. I like how we thought the big bad was one thing when in actuality they're in cahoots and they're both terrible. And
Mhm.
the whole thought of it could have saved lives, it still can. It's just like, yeah, but at what cost? Like you're murdering people now, right? What lives are you trying to save?
Mhm.
And how is this damage reversible? Whatever you're
Right.
doing to make this thing happen, how are you going to fix that once you've destroyed it? I don't
Mhm.
know. Mm.
So I'm,
Rose said that this isn't the worst part. She's talking about him having to live with it, right?
mhm,
Like that being the worst part. And is that what she was
mhm.
saying to
Yeah,
Peter? Like
yeah.
you said, you think this is the worst after he put his dad in there. She's like, but
Mhm.
the everyday or whatever. She's saying like the fact that you gotta live with this
Mhm.
pretty much for the rest of your life is the worst. Okay, just making sure I'm on the right page.
Mhm. So so yeah, I want to close with two things. One
Mm-hmm.
leading directly into the other. So our man Nikki P. You want to know how he celebrated the And by the way, regardless of how I feel about like the this particular series, his actions are like incredibly lame. But I feel like and I feel like if it were anyone else, like it wouldn't be worth mentioning. But he is the creator of the show. He spent his night, Sunday night, just reposting negative comments to his Instagram.
Mm,
Like
it is
people sending
lame.
him tweets like people send him tweets like, "Yeah, man, they destroyed your show. The dialogue's terrible. Can't believe you had Jodie Foster and you ruined her, and yada yada yada." Um, a lot of people thought this show would fail, and your mileage on that may vary. But what is for certain is that this finale had 3.52 million viewers, which is pretty damn good. So whether you want it or not, Nikki P, you're gonna see another True Detective miniseries. So with that being said, D, would you be down for another True Detective?
Yeah. And yes, because I feel like every show has to have a weird air quote season, and this was it. So we got it out the way. So maybe next we'll get kind of back true to form. So I'm interested. And again, I still think the case was great. Like I still
Mhm.
really liked how that happened. Like I like all of that. I just think it was an interesting way of getting there because her finding out what her real name is and light after the darkness and all of that stuff. I don't know, man. I don't know. And I think I kind of feel bad because maybe I just don't appreciate the culture. That might be a part of it
Mhm.
too. But I don't know. Mm. Worst case though, I'll watch the next season. Hopefully it's short too, like this one was.
Yeah, and I feel like we didn't cover it here pretty much because there wasn't anything to cover, but I feel like they left the spiral open ended because I feel like they're gonna say there's more here. There's more stories to tell here. So I feel like that's why they didn't say anything about the spiral.
I'm glad you said that. Was it a fossil or was I imagining things? Did it look like it was a fossil in the ice?
Yeah, it looked like it was something in the ice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and it just keeps popping up. Like Jodie's orange peel ended up being, in a
Mhm.
spiral. So it's just like they're putting it there, and that's fine. And it may not mean anything. It might just be the thing that's a callback to, the thing that all the seasons have. But I want it to mean something.
Mhm.
Yeah, something. Like you wanted to make sense somewhere for something, even if it's something that's been taken and then perverted and then turned into something else once it got here and it meant something here and now it's taken on something else. I'm even okay with that. But Rose bringing it up and then kind of dismissing it, I
Mhm.
don't know, man. But yeah, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Will you watch the next season? Season
Sh-
5?
Sure.
Why
Sure.
not? Why not?
Yeah.
Why
Why?
not?
Why not?
Um, I will say this. Tweeting negative posts or posting negativity is incredibly lame. I would like to say that. I stand by it. I stand on it. It is incredibly lame. I also understand it because if somebody took my show and did what they wanted with it, I would
But
probably
D.
be very upset about it too.
But D. But D. If you get fired from your own show, I feel
Yeah,
like you lack
I got
self-awareness
fired.
about yourself.
Yeah.
You
How
get
did he get
fired.
fired? What happened?
He
How do you get
he's
fired from your own show?
he so there are enough stories to know that he is notoriously an asshole and a control freak
Oh, well,
because
yeah, okay.
um
So like
because
Stanley Kubrick.
yeah, because he and Kerry Fukunaga, the director from True Detective season one, like had an infamous falling out. And Kerry Fuku and I'm gonna be real, like I actually might have the side with Kerry Fukunaga here. He kind of said like, yeah, your shit was kind of weak. I made it better. And
Mm,
what and I'm gonna say this.
dang.
That
Now that made
the
it a hot
thing,
song.
yeah, yeah. There's, yeah, you made a hot line, I made a hot song. But no, we say this about True Detective season one, how great it looks, the tone,
Mhm.
and we've seen because Nick Pizzolatto has directed some episodes since. And by the way, he is straight up like a novelist. Like, so the fact that he jumped into that, like, oh yeah, I could do this. Um, there might be some truth there. So a person like that, well, like obviously he's talented. Like I read Galveston, his first novel. Galveston is good. He wrote a lot on The Killing. I like the first two seasons of The Killing, I will say. Um, so obviously he is. Oh, by the way, he wasn't fired from The Killing, but he just walked away from it. Another case of he might be an asshole, but um yeah, he is the type of person that needs like someone around him to say like no. Like he that so and I don't think the relationship with HBO like really worked out for him in that way because HBO like really invest in their people and they like it, but at the same time, like if you fuck up HBO because having a show on HBO is like that's like the elite of the elite. So like if you fuck up with HBO, they're just gonna be like, well, goodbye. So yeah, True Detective is the intellectual property of HBO technically, and not Nick Pizzolatto. So there you go. He was fired
Well,
from his
there
own
you
show.
go. That's how you get fired from your own show. All right then, because it's your show,
Yeah,
but it's not really your show. It's
yeah.
HBO show. Yeah.
It's HBO show.
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
It's
I will
like both
watch
of
again.
ours. We'll keep it at my house though. Yeah.
And just keep it at my house. Literally, literally keep it at my house. This is where it's gonna stay in perpetuity, or until I decide that I
Yeah.
need space
Uh-huh.
for something else.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it won't get offloaded. I can't imagine rewatching it.
No, no. I can say
It's
that.
just,
No.
but I don't regret watching it. I really, really like that story, and I just wish it had been done a little differently,
Mhm,
or just the elements they mixed into it. Maybe if it had been done with a little more care or consideration, instead of
mhm,
like making us just kind of, I guess, kind of almost like jump scares. You know what I mean? Like,
mhm,
I don't know, but yeah, I like your idea of Navarro being at peace and going on somewhere else, because she kept saying she's calling me, and I'm
mhm,
assuming she's being her mom, and we all know where her mom is, so maybe she
mhm,
went to join her mom and her sister.
mhm.
I don't know. If your theory's wrong, then I'll be wrong with you.
But yeah, that's all that we have. Let us know what you think.
What's next?
I don't know. We have to figure that out. Yeah, have to figure that out. I will
Y'all
say
got
I am I am going to I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this out loud because I don't care. Because of the stream awards, I've been like pirating shows. Like, yeah, come sue me. I don't care. But for the Vince Staples show, I am actually going to log into Netflix and I am going to hit that like because I want that man to get a full
me
season
too.
run, first of all, but also to get
Me
more
too.
seasons. So I'm gonna check that out. I'm also gonna jump into haven't started yet, but I'm gonna jump into Tokyo Vice. But yeah, like I feel like we have good things on the way, so we just gotta be patient. But yeah, something will come up. You will hear us again. You will hear us like more often, matter of fact, because I'm about to have a
Why
lot more
not?
free time on my hands. Yeah.
Look at you.
So
You're getting your lesson.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, let us know what are you watching? Let us know that too. But yeah,
And let us know what you thought
I
of the finale and the show as a
mhm,
whole too.
yeah, yeah. Because I will say,
Right.
I have watched worse things. I didn't
Mhm.
hate it. I just thought once again it didn't give itself like a good enough reason to exist. It didn't justify its existence other than we have this shiny toy. Let's put it out. But yeah,
Mhm.
whatever. That's all that we have. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Until next time. Peace.
Peace.